Hey everyone, I'm Kate Kennedy and I'm here with day 32 of 100 Days of Kane PA. And I know so many of you remember the Kane Players in the very beginning times in the early 1970s. And so today we're going to talk with Missy Hartman, who is a co-founder of the Kane Players, and hear some stories that she remembers. And Linda Carger is here, as well as her son Tom Hartman, who had Missy as their theater arts director in the Kane High School. So be ready for some great stories of the early days of Kane Players. And if you were ever in one of the Kane Player performances, please definitely share your memories and comments below, because Missy was so involved and has had such a great impact on so many. So I'm going to go ahead and get around, and we're going in here. Hello everyone.
Hello.
Hi Kate. So we have Missy Hartman. Hi Missy.
Hi.
Thanks so much for having us here today. And we have Linda Carger.
Hi.
And we have Tom Hartman.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the Kane Players. But before we begin with that, let's talk about how you came to Kane. What brought you to Kane?
I went to Penn State, and Merle Hartman went to Penn State, and we happened to meet because he was the waiter where I ate lunch in the dormitory. And as I was eating lunch one day, I dropped something on the floor, and he pushed my table or my chair under the table.
Oh, no.
And I thought, well, this guy's kind of funny. So we got acquainted and eventually got married.
And he was from Kane, right?
Right.
And so when you got married, this is where you decided to move.
That's where he decided to live, and he said, if you want to marry me, you have to come to Kane.
I guess you wanted to marry him then, huh?
I guess so.
And when you first moved here, you were a teacher.
Right.
You taught art classes.
Right.
And then you taught theater arts.
Theater arts.
How did you start teaching the theater arts class?
I think I took theater at Penn State.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then who asked you to teach? Did you get a phone call from Vern Johnson?
Vern Johnson called me up one day and said, how would you like to teach? And I said, teach what? And he said, theater. And I thought, wow.
Yeah, and I think there probably wasn't a theater arts teacher before that, was there?
I don't really know.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay, so you're teaching theater arts and you have these students over here. So can you tell us maybe some of your memories about having Missy Hartman as a theater arts teacher?
Sure. One of my first memories was we did Barefoot in the Park, and Joe Feichels and we were in high school at the time. And I remember I forgot my lines, and there was a door, so I walked out the door and left Joe on the stage by himself. And then he made me come back out, and I came back out. But the main thing that I remember about Missy doing theater arts is projection. And she used to always say, pretend that your grandmother is in the last row and she can't hear. So that's where I got my projection from.
That's true. You are known for your projection, and even when students would go away to college and be in their plays in college, they would still carry that projection with them, wouldn't they?
And some of them were asked why they talked so loud.
Yeah, all because of you.
Yeah.
Your training in directing and teaching. And so
Because they had microphones. They used microphones sometimes, and they didn't have to talk loud.
Oh yeah, right. And so there was no microphones in the Kane performances. So
Right.
All right, and you had your mom.
I actually did not take theater arts in high school. I wasn't as much into that theater thing. But shortly after I got out of school, when I came home one summer from college, she kind of twisted my arm to get in one of their first productions. She and Lynette Yutto were the co-founders of Kane Players, and the first production they did was Curse You, Jack Dalton, in which I was the hero, Jack Dalton, and Lynette was the love interest in that play. and Denny Fiscus was the villain. So that was the first actual public production of the Kane Players, and I believe that was in 1974, give or take a year or so.
Yeah, and then there was performances pretty much every year since. What were some of the plays or productions that you remember?
Well, Scrooge is the one I remember the most because I liked the story of that play. It had a good message,
Mm-hmm.
and Scrooge turned out to be a good guy at the end, and I liked that.
That is a really good message.
And I did it many times because it had so many different characters in it, and it gave many people an opportunity
Yes,
to
right.
be in a play.
Yes, and to try different types of roles too, I'm sure. Were you guys ever in Scrooge? Your husband was, right? Was
Yes, yes.
Ned? Yes.
Was I in Scrooge? I think I was in the chorus.
I
maybe.
think you must have
Yeah,
been
I
in
was
the
in
chorus,
I was in Fred's party. Yes,
There
I
you go.
was. and I had to kiss Frank Meister. Yep. Now it's all coming back.
It's all
to me.
coming back.
Yeah.
There you go.
What other memories or stories do you have about the Kane Players productions? Because there were so many over the years.
Why don't you tell the one about Scrooge?
Oh, yes, it was in the Scrooge play, of course. And the Cratchit family was entertaining for dinner. And they were having a wonderful turkey dinner. And all of a sudden, Bob Cratchit, I think was his name, said, "Well, where's the turkey?" And everybody looked around, and there was no turkey. And John Galvin was the prop man. He was off stage, and he hunted around. He found the turkey. He grabbed the paper mache turkey and grabbed it by a leg and shot it across the stage, and it ended right in the Scrooge room. And Scrooge and Bob Cratchit said, "Here's the turkey." And he picked it up, and then they had a turkey dinner.
Well, that was a good improvisation for some.
And everybody laughed like crazy. They thought it was the funniest thing in the whole play. And it was.
It was.
It was accidentally on the wrong side, but John Galvin came through.
Yeah.
That's a funny story. I like that one. What else? Any other plays that really stand out, or memories that you guys have, or stories to share?
Well, I guess the thing, it was the commitment that Missy made to Kane Players, because when you did a production, it was 2 months. You gave up a good 2 months of your life. It was 5 nights a week for 2 to 3 hours a night that we went to practices, rehearsals, and other times that we had to do it. And she was the dedication behind it that kept the wheel going round.
Yeah, and her style was very direct, right?
Very
You
direct.
know exactly what Missy Hartman wanted you to do. She was a director. Is that right?
Whatever you say.
No, that's right. Because if she found a scene that she didn't like, that you weren't portraying it the way that she thought it should be, I mean, she told you that this is the way that it should be done. This is the way the tone that you should have. So she was a director. I mean, a true director.
A true director. And you said earlier that there's a story that you have about a part that you wanted to play, but she was hesitant to give to you.
Yeah, Ned and I were just married, and she decided to do The Music Man, and Ned got the role of Harold. And I wanted so much to be Mary and the Librarian, and she didn't want to cast me in that because she said I was too rough around the edges for the part. And she said, "It's against my better judgment, but I'm going to give you this part, but I don't think you're going to pull it off."
But you did.
I did.
Yes, she did. Under good direction.
Correct.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
What are some of the other plays that were put on over the years?
Well, in that production, I forget my character's name right now, but it was was the one that Buddy Hackett played in the movie. And I remember I never danced a step in my life, and I had to dance the shapoopy in front of the whole crowd. So I learned the shapoopy, and I danced the shapoopy.
I never even heard of the shapoopy.
Oh, the memories come flooding.
So there's probably a core group of people that were in these performances over the years, regulars, I guess. Who were some of the regulars that you can think of?
Well, Linda and Ned are two of the most regular. Well, there was several plays that my dad was in, Merle Hartman, but he always had a supporting role, never had the starring roles. But of course, Jim and Beth Lenaway, they were in several of them. She was my love interest in a different play, Oklahoma. She was Ado Annie in Oklahoma, and I remember I rolled in the hay with her. or so the evidence showed by the straw on my back in the next scene. But yeah, and Jim Lenaway was in several plays.
Jim Perotti.
Jim Perotti was in quite a few plays. We did, I wasn't in this one, but they did Fiddler on the Roof, and Bill Knotts did an excellent job with singing on that.
Yeah. Yeah, so a wide variety of shows.
They did Nonsense, too.
Oh,
I
nice.
wasn't in that one, but they had some good singers in that one. I don't know why I wasn't in that one.
Yeah, so there's musicals. Like almost all of them have music, too. A lot of them do.
Yeah,
A lot of them were musicals, yes.
We got into musicals. I think we started out at straight plays for a long time and just did straight plays, and then we got bigger, and Kane Players could make money on the musicals.
Mm-hmm.
So then we started doing the musicals.
Do you remember who your piano players were for the musicals?
Honey Baker was our original player, and she was absolutely fantastic. She could do anything. And in the middle of a song, she could change everything, and she was just great. And then when Henny was no longer the musical player, Sue Ellen Snap was often the piano player. And I don't know if there was any other or not.
Well, at the end of the musicals, we had John Magnuson
Did Debbie July play?
and Debbie
Debbie Airgood?
Airgood,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Oh, yes, I
And
remember.
they would do keyboard and piano.
Oh, nice.
So we had some
Two.
different stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's great. I mean, what a great way to spend time and really getting to know other people.
Oh, you form a bond that lasts a lifetime, really,
Sure.
with some of the people. With
Did-
some of the people you don't. But
Did you guys ever do anything before or after a musical or a show? Did you have any kind of parties or anything?
We always had a cast party,
Yeah.
but we didn't form outside relationships that I remember.
Well, the cast party, I'm sure, was well deserved after all that hard work you guys put in. So afterward, you'd want to celebrate.
Well, afterwards you went on with your life.
Yeah, you just moved on to the next one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Is there any other stories you want to share, or any other things that you wanted to say that you didn't get a chance to yet?
One thing, and Linda just briefly mentioned that they were able to make some money on the musicals. I think it's good to point out that through the money through the ticket sales and whatnot, the funds that the Kane Players generated go to an annual scholarship for high school students in the name of the Kane Players.
How nice. Yeah, that's great.
And I don't know the details or how much or how many scholarships they gave, but that was a regular thing. Linda might know more than I do about that.
this was the first year that we didn't give one because we haven't done plays. In our bylaws, it was that they had to perform in plays or be associated with Kane Players or be going into the arts. So we didn't give one out this year, but I'm sure it's been in $10,000-$20,000 that we've given away in scholarships.
What a great way to support the arts.
Correct.
And to encourage that in younger generations.
Right, and we're still using that money.
And that's
And I might mention too that I always picked plays that had a good message,
Yes.
and so that the people that were in the play got the message.
Yes, like a good,
Yeah.
like family friendly,
Yeah.
feel good with a strong message, not just a play to do a play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. I remember so many of your plays and they were always excellent. Very good. Anything else?
I guess that's all.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Missy, it was great talking with you, and we're so grateful that you founded the Kane Players. You were there till about 2005.
Well, I didn't found it.
You co-founded.
Yeah, I just helped Lynette Yeto
And then you took it on when she left.
because she was majoring in drama or something, and she wanted to do it, and I said, "You go ahead and do it, and I'll help you."
But then you...
And then eventually she left the Kane area, so there was nobody to do it but me.
So you stepped up. Stepped up
Yeah.
to the plate.
Yeah.
Well, very nice work. You made a lasting impression on many, many people. And those messages that you made sure were in the plays, I think really did resonate with people and made a difference. So thank you for doing that.
Well, thank you for coming and talking about it.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in today. It's always so much fun to hear stories about the good old days, you know, the beginnings of something. And the Kane Players are such an important piece of our art history here in Kane, Pennsylvania. So if you were ever in a musical or a play directed by Missy Hartman, we would love for you to share your stories in the comments below. I'm sure there's so many memories that just started getting jogged as we were talking today. So we're grateful for the arts community here in Kane and look forward to hearing your stories. So thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow for day 33.